Hello everyone, welcome back to Believer Science Academy, Bengaluru. This is topic of the day discussion, and in today's topic, we will be discussing the topic of Brics, that is BRICS. We will see why it is in news, and we will see the significance of Brics and what are the main members and how it evolved over the time. Okay, so now recently, US President Donald Trump has threatened BRICS nations with 100% tariffs if they create a new currency or support an alternate to US dollar as the global reserve currency. Okay, this topic about global reserve currency and why the countries are moving away from dollar, why some countries want to create their own currency as an international currency, what is India doing about internationalization of rupees. We've already discussed about those things. So today we'll be focusing on static part of this topic, that is BRICS nations. So what is BRICS? BRICS in its earlier format brought together five major emerging economies. Which are the five major emerging economies? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Okay, so initially it was BRIC, excluding the yes, that is South Africa, but in 2000 around 2011 even South Africa was included to make the grouping into BRICS. Now in 2023, during the 15th BRICS summit, which was held in South Africa, 6 countries were included in the are invited to join the alliance. What are those 6 countries? They are Iran from Asia, United Arab Emirates also from Asia, Middle East, Saudi Arabia from Middle East of Asia, then Argentina, okay, South America, Egypt from Africa, Ethiopia from Africa. Okay, this group invited many countries from like other regions, so that the representation from every region around the world is present there. Okay, now, so before expanding in 2023, BRICS as a platform represented 42% of the world population. Okay, just imagine India and China are there in the grouping, so obviously it has to have a higher amount of population, and 30% of the world's territory, again China, Russia, and India. Okay, 3 of the top 10 largest countries in the world by geography. So obviously it has a high territory also, and 23% of global GDP, again mainly contributed by China, and around 18% of world trade. Again, the lion's share is of China. So the aim of alliance is to challenge the economic and political monopoly of the West. Okay, so normally the global institutions such as World Bank and IMF are dominated by Western countries. Okay, IMF always had a chairperson from Europe. World Bank has always had a chairperson from USA. Okay, so it has always been dominated by these countries. So there was a need for a grouping or an institution, a global institution, where the dominance of West is less, where the needs of the other countries apart from West are also listened. So the reasoning behind BRICS was this. The group sets priorities and discussions every year once during the BRICS summit, which members take turn hosting. Okay, the BRICS hosting keeps on changing, and this year, that is 2024, it was hosted by Russia in Kazan. Okay, Russia and Kazan. Next year it keeps on changing. Okay, now what are the major initiatives of BRICS? Okay, BRICS was established so that you can break the hegemony of Western countries. So in order to break the hegemony of Western countries, the BRICS initiatives or BRICS countries have brought on certain initiatives. First one is New Development Bank. It was brought down to compete against World Bank. Okay, it is not like it is at the level of World Bank yet, but it has the capacity to reach the level of World Bank in the coming years. So it is the major milestone of BRICS is the establishment of New Development Bank in 2024 with a capital of 100 billion. This bank provides funding for infrastructure and sustainable development projects within BRICS and other developing nations. Okay, this NDB is not limited to BRICS only. They can give funding to countries outside of BRICS also, all the developing countries. And NDB has successfully financed numerous projects in member countries, including investments in renewable energy, urban development, and social infrastructure. Okay, and then there is another agreement or arrangement, that is contingent reserve arrangement. This is as an opponent or as an alternative to IMF, that is International Monetary Fund. So BRICS established contingent reserve arrangement, that is CRA, with a 100 billion reserve pool to provide financial support to members facing short-term liquidity pressures. So if the country is facing any liquidity shocks, if a country is facing any shortage in liquidity, during those times, this contingent reserve arrangement is going to finance them so that you can deal with this shortage of liquidity, and then you can repay the amount when you are capable enough. Then the CRA aims to provide a safety net and safeguard members from member economies from external economic shocks. Okay, some of like external economic shocks such as COVID-19 or any kind of demonetization or 2000 financial crisis. If there is a crisis of that sort, if there is an economy which is undergoing certain tensions during that time, this provides a safety net. Okay, you can use the CRA, that is contingent reserve arrangement. We are going to provide certain amount of money so that you can deal with the shocks, and when you are ready or when you are recovered, then you can repay back to the CRA. This is what IMF does. The IMF does this. IMF also gives a certain amount so that you can recover, but it does with certain recommendations also, policy recommendations. Most of the policy recommendations are similar to capitalist nature. Okay, it says that okay, we are going to provide you fund. I know you are, like we can understand that you are going through some sort of economic shock. So if you want to recover from the shock, I am going to provide you money, but for that you have to follow certain recommendations, policy changes. Those policy changes are most of the times similar to capital regimes such as USA and Western countries. These recommendations are comes under Washington Consensus. Washington Consensus. All these consensus are the measures under this are similar to what the economy is present in majorly USA and other capitalist economies of Western countries. Okay, but in new contingent reserve arrangement, there is no sort of this kind of recommendations. Okay, we're going through shock, we're going to provide you money. That's all. Then about the data or highlights of BRICS global significance. Okay, economic power, I already explained this, but just important points. That is, it accounts for 26% of global GDP. BRICS contribute over 25 trillion to the global GDP in the nominal terms and more than 31% in PPP terms. That is purchasing power parity terms. Okay, mainly contributed by China. 16 trillion from China itself, and some 4 trillion from India and 2 trillion from Russia, and other countries contribute totaling to $25 trillion. And then 20% of global trade. Intra-BRICS trade reached approximately 160 billion in 2022, showcasing its growing interconnectedness. And then BRICS nations hold about 17% of the global foreign reserves, that is about 5 trillion. Again, mainly contributed by China and India. Then population. Okay, BRICS countries represent 41% of the global population, that is approximately 3.2 billion. Out of this, 2.5 billion is contributed by India and China only, and making it the largest bloc in terms of population. Then natural resources and energy. This is very important. BRICS controls significant natural resources, including 40% of the global energy resources, mainly contributed by Brazil and Russia. Here, okay, Russia and Brazil are major exporters of oil, gas, and agricultural commodities, while South Africa is a key supplier of precious metals such as diamond and other metals. Then we have to discuss this new development bank. It was established 2014. NDB finances sustainable infrastructure and development projects in BRICS and emerging markets. In 2023, NDB has approved over 33 billion in loans, with projects ranging from renewable energy in Brazil to smart cities in India. You know that Amrut mission, that is smart city mission of India. It has been financed by new development banks. You can use this in your mains answer. Okay, there can also be a prelims question also. The Amrut mission is financed by which are the following organizations? It can ask Asian Development Bank, New Development Bank, World Bank, IMF, etc. The correct answer is New Development Bank. Then global trade partners. So obviously China is the largest trade nation globally, and its trade with BRICS partners strengthens the bloc's economic clout. India-China bilateral trade crossed 136 billion in 2022, reflecting the bloc's significant role in global trade flows. So this is why it is significant. And then geopolitical representation. BRICS countries are members of the major global institutions, including United Nations, G20, and the World Trade Organization. All these members from big countries are emerging economies, and some of the countries are global powers also. So they have a representation in United Nations and other organizations also. So they, in those organizations, can advocate for multilateral reforms, particularly in the United Nations Security Council and Bretton Woods institutions. What are Bretton Woods institutions? World Bank and IMF. They can advocate for to represent the interests of developing nations. Okay, there is a paradox. The paradox here is most of the BRICS countries want the United Nations Security Council to be expanded, but only one country, that is China, doesn't want India to be included, so it doesn't want UNSC to be expanded. Then climate action. BRICS countries are critical to global climate goals, accounting for 43% of global CO2 emissions. Again, India and China's contributions. BRIC initiatives like the BRICS Energy Research Platform promotes renewable energy transitions with China and India leading in solar and wind energy capacity. So even from the climate change goals also, this BRICS organization is playing an important role. Grouping as playing an important role. And then in terms of technological and innovation contributions, collectively BRICS account for over 30% of global R&D expenditure. The bloc has collaborated on the technological advancements in areas like artificial intelligence, space exploration, vaccine research, etc., etc. Okay, in space exploration, Roscosmos of Russia, and then Chinese Space Exploration Agency, and then ISRO. These are the key players in space exploration in BRICS countries. And in vaccine also, China, India, and Russia, three of the most forward countries in terms of medical research. They are supporting other BRIC countries also. And what is the importance and significance of BRICS to India? We now saw the significance of BRICS at a global level. Now, what is its significance for India? Okay, any grouping, if India is part of, we should know it from the perspective of India also. So, it has economic benefits. Okay, economic benefits because BRICS nations are key trade and investment partners for India. In 2022, India BRICS trade in bilateral accounted for 160 billion, with India China trade contributing a significant share. And then the new development bank has approved over 7 billion for Indian infrastructure projects, including renewable energy and smart cities. Okay, so it has economic benefits. Then again, if there is a question about BRICS in your mains, this can be your subheadings. Then global political influence. India uses BRICS to advocate for reforms in global governance institutions like United Nations Security Council, IMF, WTO, ensuring a greater voice for emerging economies. And then BRICS serves as a platform to challenge Western-led dominance in global decision making. Okay, that is why, because the role India is playing in BRICS, as well as role India is playing in fighting for this global decision making, that is changing the Western-led decision making. India is often referred as voice of global South. What is global South? It is like hypothetically the countries belonging to southern hemisphere of world, like hypothetically, but they are also considered as most of the developing and underdeveloped nations are considered as global South. So India is acting as a voice of global South. Then about energy security and resource sharing. With energy exporters like Russia and Brazil as members, BRICS provides avenues for India to secure affordable energy supplies. Okay, as a result, India has enhanced partnership for renewable energy and oil imports within the bloc. Prime example is India and Russia. Okay, instead of buying oil from Middle East, India started buying oil and crude oil from Russia at a cheaper and affordable prices. So it is benefiting India. Then technological collaboration. BRICS drives initiatives in artificial intelligence, digital transformation, space collaboration. India participates actively in BRICS Innovation Network. Okay, BRICS Innovation Network. BRICS Vaccine Research and Development Center, which are leveraging technology for health and development. These are very important. BRICS Innovation Network, BRICS Vaccine and Research and Development Center. And then there is also culture and social development. Platforms like BRICS Youth Summit and BRICS Games promote cultural exchange and soft diplomacy, strengthening India's ties with member countries. So these are certain advantages or significance of BRICS for India. Now, like any grouping, there are certain challenges, there are certain drawbacks, there are certain bottlenecks. So what are the challenges related to BRICS nations? One is geopolitical tensions, such as India-China border disputes. There is ongoing tensions between India and China in Ladakh, Dokla region, Galwan region, and in Arunachal Pradesh, Dokla region. These hinders the cooperation between two largest economies in the bloc. And then Russia-Ukraine war. Russia's conflict with Ukraine and subsequent Western sanctions create complexities for BRICS unity, particularly for members like India that balances relations with Russia and Western countries. Okay, first and foremost is the India and China border dispute and India and China trade wars, etc. etc. Another one is Russia's influence in the West. Okay, because of Russia's war with Ukraine, most of the Western countries are putting sanctions on Russia. If they are putting sanctions on Russia, they expect other countries to stay away from Russia. But India, being a close friend of Russia as well as Western countries, it finds it difficult to balance both. And then economic disparities. This is very important. Wide variations in economic development levels. China accounts for 70% of BRICS GDP, while South Africa contributes only 1%. Now you included Ethiopia, it may not even reach 1% now. So there is a wide disparity between largest countries and the smallest countries. Then such disparities can challenge decision making and equal representation. Okay, in the initially they are saying it is democratic institutions, but over the period of time what happens is it may align towards the World Bank or IMF also, where the amount of money you are contributing will be the amount of vote share you are getting. If that becomes the case, then this BRICS grouping will again become another institutions like World Bank with China's and Russia's dominance. Then this BRICS nation, it is one of the key challenges is that extensive dependence on China. China's dominance in trade and economic initiatives risks overshadowing the interests of smaller BRIC economies, including India. Okay, most of the BRICS countries have trade relations with China, and most of these countries are suffering from trade deficit with China. And these countries are heavily dependent on China. So it is undermining the influence of BRICS, it is highlighting the influence of China instead. Then institutional weakness. There is no permanent secretariat for BRICS. It is very important for in fact no permanent secretariat and structural mechanism for dispute resolution reduces BRICS ability to act cohesively in global crisis. Okay, that is why because of the absence of dispute resolution, India and China have not been able to reach a particular reach an agreement between each other about border disputes. Okay, and then intra-BRICS trade barriers. Okay, this is very important. Despite the growing trade, high tariffs and non-tariff barriers persist among members, hindering seamless economic integrations. Because all the countries are wary about the China's influence. If they allow for free trade agreement with China, it is going to dump everything that is producing in China. It is a manufacturing superpower. It is going to produce goods and goods items etc etc at a lower rate, and it is going to dump it to India or other countries, which is going to have a negative implications on domestic markets or domestic manufacturers. So they don't want this one. That is why they are going for high tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Then global perception and influence. Many critics argue that BRICS lacks a unified strategic direction, reducing its effectiveness in shaping global policies. Okay, because see what is Russia's aim? Russia wants to have a grouping against Western countries. What is China's aim? China's aim is to have a grouping so that it can maintain its influence. What is China's aim? India's aim. India is maintaining this grouping so that it can have a leveraging. Okay, it can leverage its power in even United Nations organizations and other organizations, so that it can get a permanent status in United Nations Security Council. But China is opposing that one. So each country have their own interest, and there is no unified strategic direction. That is why it is reducing the effectiveness of BRICS. So India's strategic approach to BRICS challenges. One is strengthening the economic. What is India's approach has been? India's approach is strengthening economic integration. That is, India could push for lower trade barriers and promote bilateral trade among the BRICS countries. Diversify alliance with BRICS. Okay, instead of just focusing on China, Russia, you can focus foster deeper ties with Brazil, South Africa, and Russia to counterbalance China's dominance, and other Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, etc. countries. Then technological and financial cooperation. It also advocates for enhanced funding from NDB for climate-friendly projects and technology-driven policy solutions. And then you can promote multilateral reforms. India continues to leverage BRICS to push for a reform UN Security Council, giving greater representation to developed countries such as India and Brazil. Then enhancing people-to-people ties, expanding cultural, educational, and sports programs to foster grassroots level connections among the BRICS nations. So this way you can counter the challenges of Brics. Okay, very important topic both from prelims and mains perspective. Okay, all the points I have told you, these are very important. Okay, the like statistics and data are important from prelims, and all the analysis I have told you, all the subheadings I have told you are important from mains perspective. So do make a notes about this one. And if you have any doubts regarding this grouping, and if you want to discuss any other grouping, you can write it in the comment box. If you like this initiative, then hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. With this, I will end the session. Jai Hind.